to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I am your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host and feeling better, it seems, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
All right, man. Much better place than last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, for a couple of reasons. I mean, you were sick, and then you were also sick because the Steelers, started out
bed
playoffs and then dropped an egg. So yeah, it's just crazy. I know it's still a little tender, so I ain't gonna touch on them too much, but just kind of wanted to say that you are on the mend both ways, I hope. Time and distance will help heal most wounds. Anyway,
you know what? Getting down 28-0 in the first quarter has made me to the point where I don't even care anymore. Don't even care. They're still my team, but the gap between my Steelers and my Panthers ain't never been closed so narrowly.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that because I want to talk about the games that did happen this past weekend. But because there are only a few games that did happen, it does start to lend itself to, okay, we're going towards the offseason. Now there's more and more talk about NFL drafts. There's talk about Deshaun Watson. Is he really going to go somewhere? There's talk about now what is Indianapolis going to do with Phillip Rivers retiring. So there's a whole lot of different things that are going on. But first, just to kind of recap what happened over the weekend, I was so much hoping that I was going to look like Nostradamus. And it was almost within my grasp. But I ain't mad at him. Cleveland, you done come a long way. And you did exactly what I thought is that you made a game out of it. Kansas City could not breathe a sigh of relief until well into that fourth quarter. You made them sweat. I know Mahomes went out. Henry came in and did what he needed to do when he needed to do it. But the thing about Kansas City, I kept saying, they let people stay in these games a whole lot longer than they should.
Yep.
And if they keep doing that, I know, and I say keep doing that as if there's that many more weeks left. But it's going to catch up with you as Pittsburgh. It is going to catch up with you. Put them away early, take away their hopes, their dreams, their grandkids' dreams. Just go ahead and do it.
They're
gonna get you.
I got two thoughts on that game. First of all, I got a couple of thoughts on that game. First of all, great game. And I kind of thought that Cleveland would make that a game. You had your folks out there that were predicting blowout because the Browns are historically what the Browns are. I just did not feel that this was the typical Browns team this year. And Baker Mayfield, I did not think that he was the typical Mayfield of the past. So kudos to the Browns for making that a game. They could have won that game if you held on to the ball at the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they might want to look at changing that rule. I don't know. There's been some controversy about that too. But regardless of the fact, it had to take the backup quarterback, Henny, two gutsy first downs in order to put that game away. The first one, he ran for the first down or ran close enough to it so they could go for it and get the eventual first down. But they had him 3rd and 15 in a position where they're about to give the ball back to Cleveland. And that didn't happen because of Henny. And also props to the Kansas City Chiefs' Andy Reid for being gutsy enough to call that final pass play that salted the game and put it away.
Mm-hmm.
That's cojones, big time cojones, man, to call that with a backup quarterback. And for the backup quarterback to have the ability to pull that off. And props to the wide receiver, too, for staying in bounds when he made the catch. So that completely killed the Browns' effort. But regardless of that, kudos to the Browns for getting as far as they got. and also for making that game a really tight contested game all the way up to the fourth quarter, because a lot of people didn't see that coming.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I'm not a Browns fan, but for them to go 12-6 and make it as far as they did, you have something to build on. Now, here's the thing that I do. Okay, I'm a little bit of a ish starter sometimes. They did this without Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
So,
so that
how
takes
does that factor in anything going forward, or is it not? Am I just starting a bunch of crap? Or
no, I think that lends to the growth of Baker Mayfield, for one, to be able to do this without Odell Beckham Jr. And then it kind of diminishes Odell's ego a little bit too, to know that the Browns can switch to the run game and be fine, and a pass control game without him being present and still be able to win ball games and advance in the playoffs.
Yeah, and also to that point, sometimes what I see is when you have such a talent like that on your team, sometimes McCaffrey, sometimes you zone in on that person so much, McCaffrey, that you don't see anybody else. To that point, he had 9 different receivers in that game. Now, 2 of them were running backs, but they caught passes. So he had 9 different receivers. Had Odell Beckham been in that game, he would have tried to force a lot of passes that weren't there because your star receivers got to eat. You know they're looking for the ball. You know when they give you that side look, they're sitting there going, you know I was open, even if he had 3 people on him, because they always think they're open.
Yeah.
And I used to see this sometimes with even the old days and bring up Panthers. I used to see sometimes Jake DeLong try to do that to Steve Smith. Like, Jake, what are you doing? There's other receivers on this team where he'd just lock into him, and I'd be like, that's gonna be a pick. The dude's only 5'8". You know, you're throwing in the double and triple coverage. He can only go up so much. And
it was Dave Gettleman got a lot of crap about trading Steve Smith from here, but to his credit, that was one of the reasons why, because he wanted Cam not to be focused so much on Steve Smith like the previous quarterback was.
Right.
And it actually helped Cam at that time in his development, because that 2015 season after Smitty was gone, Cam was spreading the ball to everybody.
Exactly.
All over the field. So it actually helped his development, and it looks like it's helped Baker's as well.
Yes.
With, Odell being gone.
Because now you have to go through your progressions.
Yep.
If you just go with your hot read and it's not there, but you still try to force it anyway, that's when you start looking bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just kind of interesting. I've been thinking about it all season. I'm going, okay, how far are they going to end up going without Odell Beckham Jr.? And then is that going to really devalue some of, his leverage as far as if he wants to stay with the team, if they decide to trade him, does that, everybody knows the man is talented. But what this shows is that just having one dominant receiver doesn't guarantee you anything. A lot of times you could be handcuffing the quarterback, not realizing it, because they feel that obligation to get you to McCaffrey. And when you then don't have that piece there, like the Panthers, I'll go ahead and, I keep saying McCaffrey, but like when they took McCaffrey away, what happened? They found out they had a viable running back. Not McCaffrey, but they had one that could move the chains. They had other receivers that could catch the ball. They were even able to use Curtis Samuel in some running back situations and get positive yards. So it starts to expand your playbook so that the offensive coordinators don't get into the habit of just going, okay, we got McCaffrey, we're going to have him out there for 98% of the snaps.
Ridiculous.
and he's going to be the hot read, whether he's running or catching. What?
Yeah. Curtis Samuel absolutely flourished without McCaffrey being in the lineup. So, I give him props.
And the crazy thing is that if they thought about it from a better standpoint, it's okay sometimes McCaffrey is more of the decoy, because the defense has to account for him.
Right.
Even if he's not the one that gets the ball, they have to know where he is at all times.
Right.
And you do the same thing with Odell Beckham Jr. There's going to be some games where he has 9 catches for 120. There's going to be some games where he has 3 catches for 60 yards. I've seen Stephon Diggs do that with Buffalo. Sometimes he's the man. Sometimes it's Cole Beasley. Sometimes it's somebody else. So you have to kind of pick and choose, who's the hot person without feeling like no matter what, I got to squeeze it into this guy. Because then that starts to mess up a quarterback's timing and confidence and everything else when they're thinking more about, I got to target a certain person instead of trying to find the best person in the best position.
It becomes easy for defenses. They key on the one person that the offense keys on, and you shut that one person down, or you allow that one person to get some, as you call it, empty calorie yards.
Yep.
But don't allow the first downs, because that's what they do with McCaffrey.
They get all those empty calories, and guess what? You still come out with an L.
Right.
Who did that help?
He has 100 catches for the season, but I mean, how does that really translate into wins? It didn't. Right. Not at all.
All he may have done was trigger some of his bonuses and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of those catches that he made were given to him. It was 3rd down and 15. We're going to allow McCaffrey to catch the ball out the backfield, but we're not going to allow the 15 yards. That happened repetitively with the Panthers.
That is the stats. Yeah, he has all these catches. Okay, dump offs.
Yeah, go ahead, have it.
-1 yard, dump off.
Yep.
2 yard, dump off. Whatever.
So when a lot of people wanted to brag about McCaffrey's 100-yard catch season, I wasn't one of those cheerleaders, man, because, you got to look in the numbers sometimes to see how they really translate into a team's performance.
Correct. Absolutely. Yep. Totally agree. Absolutely. Well, okay, so we had another game that went on, and I knew the outcome, but I was surprised by 2 things. The score was lower than I thought, and the fact that the Ravens couldn't even get a damn touchdown totally shocked me. I wasn't shocked that they didn't win, but they couldn't get a touchdown. And when I saw dude run out of the Johnson, I believe it was, ran out of the end zone and ran it back 101 yards, I was like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah, you knew it was over because Lamar Jackson is not the quarterback to bring you back.
No.
After been trailing. He's not. Beautiful defensive game plan by the Bills.
Yep.
It's no secret on how to stop Jackson. It's really not.
You were right, and I saw your post about that, and that was absolutely – that's what I've always said about him. Keep him in front of you.
Yeah.
Force him to become a pocket passing quarterback. He is not. Can he throw the ball? Yeah. Is that his thing? No.
Not at all.
Cam's. It wasn't Cam's when he came in.
Nope.
Yeah. Containment. That's all you have to worry about. Can we contain the edges? Because if he breaks around the edge on you and he gets you on the edge, good night, Irene. It's 6 points. If your DBs can use their corners correctly, shut off those edges, and have your tackles contain him in the middle, you got to walk. He can only go so far.
Yep. He's all about making that one guy miss when he takes off up the middle of the pocket.
He's good at it. Yep.
If that one guy latches on, makes a tackle, or at least slows him down, then he has issues. And if you make him a passer, it's been proven historically now that he struggles at that. He's not the type of quarterback that's going to drop back, go through progressions, and find the right receiver.
And that's the problem. If his hot read, which is his first read, is open, then yes, he's got it because he's got a target. But if he has to sit there and go, boom, he ain't waiting that long.
He's not the one. Nah.
He ain't waiting that long. He's not going to do that.
Every offense has their chain mover. Carolina has Curtis Samuel on those 3rd down situations. As far as the Bucks and the Pats before that, Brady loves to target Gronk.
You knew if it was 3rd and 5, that was going to be Gronk doing a chip block and then coming around right there between the line and the DBs and catch that pass.
Yeah, we call
You
those
know
security blankets.
it.
Kansas City, Kelsey is definitely Mahomes' security
Big,
blanket.
huge with that.
Yeah, third down, he's looking Kelsey every single time. As far as Jackson, he's his own security blanket, man. Third down and change, he's the one that's most likely moving those chains on third down with his run game. Bill's excellent game plan to keep him in front of them and to make him a passer. And that first guy that commits to him when he tries to run, wrapping him up and bringing him to the ground, or at least slowing him down. Beautiful game plan by the Bills defensively to limit that run game to only 3 points. I really like the Bills. I'm telling you, I really, really like the Bills.
Yes.
We'll get to our predictions later on, but yeah.
I told you.
Yeah.
And
really
I'm still, they all still alive too. But Josh Allen didn't have a lights out game, but he didn't make any mistakes. He had 1 touchdown, no picks. Stephon Diggs did what he needed to do. 8 catches, 106 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Cole Beasley didn't catch anything, and they still won.
They will need to find themselves a run game if they want to keep advancing, though.
That's true. And normally Singletary, I was a little surprised. Normally Singletary does a little bit better, but Zach
Moss
didn't play.
Yeah. And I'm not sure about his availability for this game in Kansas City either, so it might be a Singletary show. But regardless of the fact, they're going to have to do better in the run game if they want to keep advancing.
Definitely. But they did what they needed to for this game, so congratulations to the Bills. They move on as well. Now, that bad man, and I got a friend of mine that just knew good and well that the Rams were going to go up to Green Bay and come back with a W. And I said, dude, come on now. Come on now.
Now he saw that.
If you've been watching all season, when they drafted a quarterback, instead of giving Aaron Rodgers more weapons offensively, he took that personally.
He took that to heart.
And if a 14-3 season, 14-2 season, or 13-3 season. I don't know why it's telling me they won 17 games. I guess they're adding the playoff games.
Yeah.
If that didn't show you that he took it personally, I don't know what else did. If the fact that he had one of his better statistical seasons didn't tell you that. The man threw for 4,300 yards. 4,299. He had 48 touchdowns. 48 to only 5 picks. He's probably going to win the NFL MVP.
Video game numbers.
Yes. 48 touchdowns to 5 picks. You can say what you want. You can say, well, he throws the ball away a lot of times. Well, hell, that's what you're supposed to do. If ain't nobody open, you throw the ball away and you live to play another game. A lot of the other guys, they take a lot of chances. But they only have 5 interceptions and he played all the games. He threw for 4,299 yards. That is ridiculous. So he took it personally, and it looks like he is on a mission. Now I'm a little concerned about the next game only because of who they're playing, but he's got a chance to really do some things. So they really played a good game. The Rams, they didn't really play all that bad. They just played Green Bay.
That's it. They just ran into Green Bay, one of the hottest teams in the league, one of the nastiest places as far as home field advantage right now. Nobody wants to go up there in frickin' January. And that showed big time in this game. I mean, Akers, he played well. Goff, he didn't do sensational, but he didn't hurt his team too much. Right. But he just couldn't get it done. They just could not get it done because Aaron Rodgers right now has got a fire lit within him like I haven't seen in a player in several years, since maybe Michael Jordan. He really took that drafting of a quarterback personally. Yeah. And he's not the type that's going to be pouting to the media and saying all the wrong things, but he is the type of dude that's going to be like, I'll go show you. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what's happened all year. He's been showing us all year long, all year.
All year.
Yep.
You know, he had that one bad game against Tampa where he threw like 2 picks in one game.
Yeah.
He was off. And Tampa's defense was just on that day. But, you know, when you look at the totality of the season and you weigh it all out, I mean, that's further proof. He had, let's say 5 interceptions, right?
Yeah.
2 of them was in one game.
Right. And everybody's allowed a bad game. I mean, it's going to happen. They're only humans.
That means that for the other 15 games, he had 3. That's even more of a validation.
Yeah, man.
He didn't have his best game. So, yeah, he's been blazing. So, yeah, 32-18. Congratulations to the Rams. You scored 18 points. You got to see Green Bay. I know it's COVID and everything. Hope you got to do a little sightseeing. If you didn't, then come back in the summer. Now the last game was the Geritol Bowl, sponsored by Ben Gay, where I had to. Oh God! At least I didn't say it was sponsored by Viagra or something else like that. But it could have been. It could have been. You make me need a little Viagra.
Very well could have been.
But we had 2 of our more seasoned quarterbacks playing, and they looked all right to be over 40.
Yep, looked all right. I do think, though, that Drew Brees is done. He's just not the Brees that we're accustomed to seeing over the years. And I hope he go ahead and rides off into the sunset and retires, because to me, that looked like somebody's last game. I don't see
it felt that
yep.
way.
Felt that way. Yep.
He threw 3 picks, but a lot of it was he was trying to keep his team in the game, and he forced some stuff gets tipped, things like that. But you're right, and the thing is, Drew Brees, I've been in awe of him for a long time, for the mere fact that he has played in spite of his height. Every time I see Drew Brees throws, and it's the weirdest thing I've seen, because he's short, he throws on his tiptoe.
Yeah.
And he's normally very accurate with it. I just said, you know what? Between him throwing off his toes and Phillip Rivers throwing sidewinders, I said, neither one of these guys going to last that long. And we're talking about over 15 years later, they're still out there doing it. Well,
Yep.
Except for Rivers, calling it a career at 17. But the fact that they're able to sit there and not let those kind of things limit them, and they got the most out of what they had. Were they the most athletic? Hell no. But were they able to sit there and get everything out? That's what I respect about Drew Brees. Now, there's some other things that Drew says in the offseason that I just be like, don't say that around a bunch of brothers on your team. But just between the hashes, he balled it out. If he quits right now, which he probably should, he had a hell of a career.
Hall of Famer. And in my book, he's one of the top 6 quarterbacks of all time.
Wow.
Drew Brees has had a nice career. Take into account that when he had that arm injury in San Diego, a lot of people said he would never throw again.
Yeah, that's because it was his shoulder. It was his throwing shoulder
injury. Yep, his throwing shoulder. And here we are all these years later to see the accomplishments of a Super Bowl, to see the accomplishments of him being right up there 1-2 as far as passing yards all time. Just everything he's done for the city of New Orleans. Definitely a Hall of Fame career, man.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Totally agree. And it was funny, a lot of people kept going, well, Tampa Bay went up against them twice in the regular season, came out with L's. What's going to change in this game? And, I kept saying, what's going to change in this game is that whenever Tampa gets serious about running this damn ball, it's going to be hard to stop them. Number one, because of clock management. But number two, if you start running on them like that, then you're limiting how many opportunities Drew Brees has.
I was really impressed by that. What about Fournette out of the backfield catching passes? That was like crazy, man.
And what have I said all year about him and Rojo dropping passes because that wasn't their thing? I don't know if they took extra snaps or whatever the case may be, but they were definitely a lot more in tune with making sure that they would catch passes. Fournette, 5 catches, 44 yards.
44
That is unheard
yards.
of.
Yep.
That is unheard of.
Right.
He had more receiving yards than Gronk. Gronk only had 14. AB only had 10. Scotty Miller only had 1 catch for 29.
Yeah.
Godwin only had 4 catches for 34. Leonard Fournette was the second leading receiver, only behind Cameron Brate. Your tight end had more receiving yards than anybody.
I was super impressed by Fournette out of the backfield. I'd actually never seen that before.
No, he normally drops it, which was tearing me up because in Jacksonville, he would catch passes out of the backfield. He was pretty good about it. And because the scary thing about Fournette was if he caught a pass out in the backfield and you look at that man in the eyes, he about to roll you.
Yeah, nobody want to be one-on-one with that.
I mean, it was Derrick Henry-esque when he was in Jacksonville in certain games. And then it started to seem like he just wasn't involved in games. Sometimes he do a Julius Peppers and he take plays off, he check out. Oh, I'm sorry, Julius. I didn't mean to bring that up, Julius. I'm sorry. You still the beast. But yeah, he would take some plays off, and that kind of got his butt lost favor in Jacksonville and got him traded in the first place to Tampa. And when they announced that, I'm like, whoa, he's staying in Florida. Whoa. Oh man, this is gonna be great. And then he was behind Ronald Jones. And I was like, wow, what is he not doing in practice? So, and then I would see when Ronald Jones would start to struggle, then they would bring Fournette in to kind of have Ronald chill out a little bit, and then they go heavy with Fournette. But then when I started saying earlier in a lot of our shows, Tom Brady's the quarterback that he really wasn't built to throw a lot of deep passes. I mean, now if the line gives him that protection and his receivers start streaking, yeah, I ain't saying he can't lob it out there, but that's not his game. His game is really a lot of that West Coast check downs, 8-yard pass here, keep the chains moving, and that's his game, and he's good at it. Because the West Coast offense is about timing. He's a very good timing quarterback. So that's what really worked for him. And I said, man, having that back there and having Gronk as that safety blanket or Cameron Brate would really bode well. So when they first announced, because I was like, okay, if he's got Ronald Jones / Fournette doing that, he's got Gronk on one side, Brate on another side. Now you got Godwin and Evans. Who are you double teaming? That's when they announced all that. I was like, oh God, because I was like, they can't zero in on anybody, and it started out slow and it didn't really go that way, but slowly but surely. Because remember, I said at the very, very first show, I said, the Super Bowl's in Tampa this year, and I got a feeling that Tampa is going to be having a home game in the Super Bowl, and I still say that's going to happen. I said that last week, and I still say it this week.
I'm going to have to go against you on that one, bro. So
I know.
we'll get into our predictions right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Green Bay versus Tampa Bay, NFC Championship. It's going to be in Green Bay. I think that the weather will affect Tampa. I think that they will have trouble stopping both the run game of Green Bay with my man Jones back there and Aaron Rodgers playing out of his mind right now. I think that's going to be troublesome, even for a tough Tampa defense. I see Green Bay getting by them and spoiling the party in Tampa.
Yeah, I'm definitely going against the grain because everything you said, there's no way in the world that a rational, non-drug using person could disagree with that. And trust me, I hadn't been to Farm Lab or anything recently, but I haven't been on anything. But I just got that feeling that we're gonna see, at least for this game, Tom Brady of old. Yeah.
or an old Tom Brady.
For an old Tom Brady, it's gonna be one or the other.
It's gonna be one or the other.
Oh God. Now you might be right, and it's a better chance that you will be right. But when we pick our games in the water cooler, do not be surprised when you see me say Tampa Bay gonna win that game. I'm going against the grain.
All right, I hear you.
I got a feeling that if they continue to run the ball, and you're going to need to run the ball in Green Bay, it's going to be cold. The weather may not be kind. I haven't seen the weather report yet. The weather may not be kind. You're going to need to run the ball. I think, and I just kind of have also in this feeling that Tom has something to prove. This is why he came to Tampa. The fact that the Bucs are number one in the playoffs for the first time in umpteen years isn't going to be good enough for him. He ain't going to be satisfied until he can do this to Bill Belichick and go, I got one without you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if it plays out that way, fine. Even if it doesn't, yes, a lot of people are going to say, well, at least he went further than Belichick. That ain't good enough. That ain't good enough for Tom. I'm telling y'all, that same fire that Aaron Rodgers had when you said, oh, y'all going to draft, oh, you think I'm done? You think I'm on the short end? $42.99.
Yep, which is exactly why he'll be right back next year as well. So
yeah,
you'll probably play every day of that Tampa contract.
You basically wasted a pick. Yeah, basically wasted a pick.
Yeah, he'll play every day of that Tampa contract. But moving on to the AFC side, who you got?
Yes, sir. Well, in the AFC, we've got the Bills and we got the Chiefs. And again, I'm going to go with the non-sexy pick, and I'm picking the Bills.
I'm right with you on that one, going against the grain. I think it's the Bills' year. I really do. Now,
Me too.
If it's their year as far as winning the Super Bowl, I don't know. But as for this game right now against Kansas City and the timing of it, everything is kind of mashing up to the Bills' advantage. Right now, Mahomes in concussion protocol, that's going to slow down the offense, regardless if he plays or not.
Right.
Because coming out of concussion protocol, that concussion just happened not even a week ago. You're not going to be, I don't think so anyway, the Mahomes magic of before. Now, he could go out there and prove us all wrong again, as he's done in the past. But I just see a lot of speed on that Buffalo defense. You got Allen that's like really, really playing good ball, turnover free ball. If they could figure out a run game against Kansas City, which shouldn't be that hard, the Bills got a really good shot at this game.
And Kansas City cannot stop the run. If you can get Zach Moss back, or maybe Frank Gore can come over and play a game for you. No.
Borrow one of his bionic knees.
If you just have and here's the thing, Josh Allen can run.
Yes, he can.
So try to come up real fast on him, and he will squirt through that pocket. I've seen him just tuck that ball, and he does not slide.
Yeah.
Now that's scary, but it's because he tries to get every yard he can, and he's a big boy, so he can take a lick. I ain't too worried about him. I'm more worried about Mahomes taking a lick than I'm worried about Josh Allen taking a lick. That dude can run. So they need to be aware of that if and I'm not Andy Reid, I'm just saying, I know you watched the show. Be on the lookout for Josh Allen bootlegs, left or right, that if he doesn't find a streaking Cole Beasley or John Brown or Stephon Diggs, he's keeping the ball and he's going to stay in bounds as long as he can. You ain't going to boo him out of bounds. If it's one more yard, he going to go get that yard. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, we've been talking about motivated quarterbacks this whole time with Aaron Rodgers and also Tom Brady.
Yep.
Allen is another one, though. Very motivated quarterback, especially looking at the whole downfall of his playoff appearance last year.
where it just kind of looked like the moment got away from him.
Yeah,
And he
he's
started
making
doing some
terrible
questionable
decisions.
stuff at the
Yeah.
at that last game. And he was like, "Wait a minute, dude! You ain't been doing this all year. Where is this coming from?"
Right. That rookie, that not a rookie, but that inexperience really played out for him.
It sure did. It sure
But it
did.
ain't playing out anymore, man. He
Mm-mm.
is looking to me like he's an extremely motivated quarterback. Nobody saw him playing at an MVP level coming into this season, and that is exactly where he's at right now. So, yeah, man, I'm with you on that. I got the Bills in an upset. Kansas City has shown that Pittsburgh tendency for the past 8 weeks of letting these inferior teams sneak up. Now, they are able to pull it out in the end, unlike my boys, but you can be caught on any given Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Any given Sunday. So we'll see
You
how
keep
it
doing
plays
that,
out.
the rent gonna come due.
Right.
It's coming. It's gonna come due on you like that.
Yep.
So you keep playing with fire, you eventually gonna get burnt.
You eventually will be burned. So we will see. It'll be a very interesting game. But I think the Bills in an upset. I'm with you.
Okay. Well, then that means that you're picking basically a Green Bay Buffalo Super Bowl.
I am. Yep.
And I'll be honest with you. As much as I'm doubling down basically because I initially picked Tampa. I didn't know Green Bay was going to be the one that they'd have to go through. I honestly thought they would have to go through somebody else. I just didn't think it would be Green Bay.
Yeah.
So
especially in Green Bay.
In Green Bay, right. Yeah. But like I said, who knew that drafting the quarterback was going to get a rise out of A-Rod like that? But it did. So thank you, thank you, Green Bay, for pissing A-Rod off so much to mess up my pick. But I'm going to double down because it's not a sexy pick, and I don't want to be just lumped in with everybody else. So I'm going to go against the grain, call it a Green Bay. See? A Tampa Bay and Buffalo Super Bowl. But if it ends up being Green Bay and Buffalo, I would love to see that anyway. I mean, that's like two teams of the tundra coming down to Florida and playing in a Pro Bowl kind of game with the weather and everything.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that. I would love to see Buffalo finally get something. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers get another ring. It's been a while, and I consider him one of the top quarterbacks of all time too.
Yeah.
But you know what? A lot of times people will start to say is, "But where's the hardware?" Now he does have one, so that helps the conversation a little bit. Segueing that into, we got news today that our former NC State quarterback, 50 kid having Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, man.
Bro, believe in some procreation. I give him that, boy. I don't know how he had the time to do that because he always playing football, but he's decided that he's going to hang up his cleats and go into coaching high school football because he loves football. He is a football dude. That's his thing. I could even see him doing some broadcast or just some commentary and things like that. He's always going to be around football. He's that guy. But he's calling it a season after one season with the Colts. After leaving the Chargers, Phillip Rivers has called it a career after 17 seasons. Did not win a Super Bowl. He didn't win the Super Bowl. Always, had a lot of yards and did a lot of things. He was always like a good regular season quarterback. But just couldn't get it done in the postseason, and this year wasn't any different. And a lot of those years, you couldn't always just put it on Rivers, because a lot of times he could have 400-yard games and they lose the game.
Right.
But he had a hell of a career, but is he going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
First ballot, no, but I do eventually think he will get in the Hall. Just the statistics that he put up over the years in San Diego, which was not really known to be a contender before he got there. I mean, they had their years, but he made them a contender in the West. Got to an AFC championship against Pittsburgh, couldn't advance, but just his longevity and the yards that he put up throughout his whole career, I think he will eventually be a Hall of Famer, though not first ballot. But while we're kind of jumping around the league, I do have to address this Deshaun Watson situation, which is, yeah, man, it's got me rubbing my hands. It's such an interesting deal that's taking place here. It's affecting the draft as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so this thing could just play out in so many different ways, determining on where he goes. And we really won't know or have an answer as to where he goes until like the mid part of March, maybe even to April.
When the new season rolls around, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. But this whole thing is interesting. And like we were talking about last weekend, Deshaun holds all the cards here. I do not think he will be back in Houston.
I don't either.
I think he has played his last game there. But the interesting part here in Carolina, and this really got my interest, is that Tepper, we really know that he will open up the pocketbooks, and he wants a winner in Carolina. We know that. We also know that he really wants to include the state of South Carolina in this whole Panthers deal, not just have the Panthers as a North Carolina team. He's really making true effort to get South Carolina involved in the whole Carolina.
Which is why he even built that facility in South Carolina to begin with.
Right. Yep. Why he's trying to include, what is it, Fort Mill or Rock Hill down there?
Yeah.
Into the equation for the Panthers with this beautiful practice facility that's being built. All that being said, you got a chance to bring home the Clemson kid that South Carolina adored, loved as much as Trevor Lawrence. The Panthers really have a shot here at getting Deshaun. It's not just a smokescreen. It's not just talk. I really think they have a good shot as anybody. They have money under the cap. They have players who are good players, but not essential to what we're trying to do. I mean, they're not essential. Of course, we would want to hold on to McCaffrey. He's our number one piece. But anybody outside of that can pretty much go. So would we be willing to give up those draft picks? That's the most pressing part. But as far as the players, the money, Tepper being that outside of the box thinking owner, I really think that would be his grand scheme in order to fill up that stadium with both North Carolina and South Carolina fans. Deshaun Watson looking here would be looking very, very good in black and blue.
I saw there was something I was reading yesterday. Top 4 teams that have a chance to get him. Number 4 was Carolina.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I always thought it was a possibility, and I kind of thought that the Panthers might be interested in it, but they just hired Sean Ryan as their quarterback coach. Sean Ryan was with Deshaun Watson in Texas. So this thing is like really getting some legs here. Again, we won't know for a while, but Deshaun to Carolina is making all the sense in the world to me. Even if we have to give up a lot to get him, you still got to look at, we're getting a quarterback who ain't nothing but 25 years old and still
franchise. You're getting a franchise quarterback that can play on day one. He's not going to have to sit behind Bridgewater for a couple of games into the season and stuff like that. No. If you come out and you get Deshaun Watson, that's your starter.
That is your starter. And he has proven to make average players better. Look what he had to work with as far as a receiving core down there in Texas.
You saw what he did with Duke Johnson and David Johnson as running backs. Now he's got McCaffrey. You're going to take me from a Chevy to a freaking BMW?
Yeah.
What?
And who are the receivers down in Houston? I can't even really think of their
Will
names.
Fuller.
Will Fuller was one of them. Brandon Cooks. Cooks was never the guy when he played in New England, never the guy when he played with the
With the
Rams.
Rams.
All of a sudden, he gets down to Houston with Deshaun Watson. He's putting up numbers. Same thing for Will Fuller. He's kind of been just, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Cooks has always been in the wrong position because when he was in New Orleans, you had Michael Thomas. New England, okay, because of the way Belichick played, you didn't know if it was going to be receiving day or running day.
Yeah.
Then when he was with the Rams, he was behind Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and Higbee and all them.
Yeah.
So, then he gets out to Houston. Fuller was the main target. Cootie kind of took a step back, and Brandon Cooks became that burner. Cooks reminded me more of a poor man's Ted Ginn Jr. because he was more of the explosive receiver that if he gets behind those defenses and you got enough time to get him that ball, he catches bombs.
Yeah, he's no doubt. He's a number 3 on most teams. Watson had that man looking like a 1.
Yes, he did. He did.
I'm extremely excited about the possibility of getting Watson. I think it is a real possibility.
It makes sense to me.
It makes sense. It might cost us in the short term, but I think the long-term benefits of having this guy here potentially for the next 10 years is something that you can't just thumb your nose at. Especially if we got the resources.
And at that
we all know Tepper got the resources.
You're talking about somebody being the face of your franchise.
Right. Face of your franchise.
So Carolina, whatever godforsaken reason that you were even touting around with interviewing Dwayne Haskins,
please.
Y'all need to let that go.
Please. Yep.
I don't think you're going to hear a story mid-season next year if we are lucky enough to get Deshaun Watson that he was over at the Uptown Cabaret making it rain.
No, you won't hear that. Not that kind of guy.
Now, you would hear from me first because I'd probably be in there making it rain myself. But that's not the point. I go there because the wings are damn good. Trust me.
Yeah, okay. That's what you tell the wife.
Oh, God. Yeah, the wings are just phenomenal. Oh, God. Do they have
one more jump around before we get up out of here, man.
Yeah.
Washington. We knew that they were going to go out and get Hurney as a GM. Everybody saw it coming.
The worst kept secret ever.
So it's looking like a 90% chance that he will be Washington's new GM. Good luck to him.
Yeah.
You know our feelings on Hurney. He hits that first rounder with consistency, but after that, big time question mark, man. Big time question mark.
You know, I hope that the first time he got released from Carolina, in between that time and he came back, gave him a chance to evaluate. The drop on Hurney was more so of his overwhelming loyalty to players that have seen days long past.
That is
where he likes to reward what you've done, not what I see you potentially being able to do going forward.
Right.
And he would lock up a lot of money and cap space into doing that. And he's got to realize that the cap may shrink this year because of COVID, and you're not going to be able to do stuff like that. Now, he doesn't have the loyalty thing to worry about because he don't know any of them players other than Kyle Allen.
Well, he kind of does. Like, all of a sudden, Washington is becoming this home for Carolina.
That's true.
Got Taylor Heineke there. You got Kyle
Allen
there.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yep, you're right. You're right. So we'll see how that goes. I know that a lot of times when you're picking a general manager, if you're not cleaning house where you're looking for a coach and general manager, and you already got a coach that is going to be embedded for a minute, you definitely want a GM to be able to work with the coach and them to figure out, okay, does this coach have final say on the 53-man roster? Is the general manager coming in and vetoing stuff? How do they work together? What is their focus for this team? So then when they start looking at draft and things like that, they look at positions that they need and things like that. Because what happens is, okay, Ron, you got your guy, but guess what? Now y'all are intertwined.
Yeah.
Your performance and his performance will go together now.
Yep. And if you look at their performance historically, it is under 500 ball. Um, so big concern for Hurney being GM in Washington, at least for me. I mean, again, I said he hits on those first round picks, but the second, third, and fourth rounder he ain't so good at. Also has a
Problem.
terrible history of trading up to get players that don't pan out to be worth it.
He
Will
will he
Greer.
will overreach. He will overreach.
Yeah, Mr. Will Greer for one. Who's the Appalachian State quarterback that they went and got? Armani Edwards is another that he traded
What?
up to get.
Yeah, whatever
So,
happened to him? That made no. See, that was that
yeah,
thing where they
just
were
terrible.
trying to get a
Made
local
no sense.
guy. Same thing with Will Greer. Look, y'all, I know I'm crossing sports, but Michael Jordan tried that mess too.
Yeah,
Sean May, Ray Felton, going to Carolina to get every player he could that got in the draft, and
never
they ain't
worked.
even on the team anymore. So,
Yeah,
thank you, Kupchak, for stopping that crap. But
and all of that being said, Cam Newton is a free agent.
I
Don't be
think
surprised. Don't be
if
surprised for a
well, you
reunion.
know what? It would actually kind of make a little sense for them
Yeah,
because they don't have a top 15 pick. They're down to 19 in the draft, and let's be honest, within the first 10 picks, there potentially could be 5 quarterbacks drafted,
yeah,
which is really crazy that many teams in the top 10 could be looking for quarterbacks. Jacksonville, going to
definitely.
look for a quarterback. The Jets, we don't know. They might. Houston, depends on Deshaun. Atlanta definitely has to find somebody to back up Ryan to be the heir apparent. Cincinnati's okay. Philadelphia and Detroit needs somebody for Stafford. Carolina definitely is in the market. Denver is always in the market. And Dallas is probably not. Dak should be back. They'll just have to find a good backup like a Dalton, because Dalton probably won't be back. Then again, maybe so.
Yeah. This whole Deshaun thing, wherever he signs, is going to cause a trickle down effect.
It's
I
gonna
mean,
shuffle all that around, because the talk
yeah,
is that if Jacksonville wants him and Urban Meyer wants him, they may be willing to do a little dealing with Houston. Houston has that third pick. They may. I'm sorry. Now it's Miami. I'm sorry. It's not Houston anymore.
yeah, man.
They may be wanting to do a little flip flop where Houston gets Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville gets Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun has already proven what he can do. Trevor, you still have to say, okay, well, we think he'll do well, but we haven't seen him take one NFL snap.
Yeah,
So all of that's going to come into play. But you're right. Once that starts to shake out, then it'll start to make sense. Okay, once everybody knows, okay, we ain't going to get him, now we got to figure out what we're going to do.
right.
Once that becomes obvious that they're not going to get him, then they have to, move on. But while it's a possibility, it's got a lot of general managers and a lot of fans, for that matter, salivating very, very hard. So,
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a crazy offseason. It's going to be a hell of a ride as far as free agency. I, for one, can't wait to see it.
me either, brother. And with that, we're going to run up out of here. We got these games coming up. Both of them are going to be on Sunday. One is going to be a 3:05 game. That's going to be the Bays, Tampa, and Green. And then the nightcap, the 6:40 game, is going to be the Bills against the Chiefs. Man, it's going to be a hell of a weekend. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It's going to be one heck of a weekend. So, and again, congratulations, NFL. You've gotten the season going. You've gotten the fans to get through this winter and not feel such despair. Fantasy people had a great fantasy season. Kudos again to you. I bring it up every week, but awesome. But yeah, can't wait to see what happens this week. I know you can't either, but we're going to run up out of here, sir. And hope everybody has a good week, and we will see y'all again next week. Peace out.
There you go. Peace.